By way of introduction to those of you who I don't know, and for some of you to understand what motivated me and what I believe brought me to this place today, I'm going to tell you a story because I come from a library. I am an outcome of Hartford, Connecticut. My family arrived in Hartford in the middle of the 19th century, and they lived in Dutch Point and Frog Hollow and on Sheldon Street, or what was Sheldon Street back then. And the early Polands and the Garrities were a rowdy lot. Poor, unskilled, addicts, alcoholics, often appearing, men and women alike, on the police blotters here in Hartford and in the Hartford Current. As a result of this, many of my ancestors were trapped by poverty in this city for decades. And so I was born into a family within which prospects for success were limited. My father never finished high school. My mother did graduate from Buckley High School. They were great parents. I felt loved, and I didn't realize how hard it was for them to raise 5 children in the city. But they were determined for us to have a better future. Education and self-reliance were important to them, and they believed both would present opportunities for their children. At age 16, my father said to me, "You are getting a job." He sent me to talk with a counselor at CRT and about getting a summer job, and I talked to a counselor there who said, "You can start tomorrow working, picking tobacco in the valleys north of the city." I think she saw a bit of reluctance in my face that day. So she said she would see what she could do. And so the next day, she called to tell me that a bank, no longer here in Hartford, Society for Savings, had a summer youth employment program to train city teens to become tellers in the bank. I entered that program in not tobacco, and a door opened to me of mentors, managers, and educators who would shape the direction of my future. As a result, I was the first Poland of that rowdy lot to graduate from college. I've raised accomplished children, one of whom is a public school teacher in New Hampshire, built a successful career, and today have the opportunity and the honor to lead one of the best urban public libraries in the nation. No one in the early days would have ever expected one of those Polands to achieve as much or to be sitting before this council and to be nominated to the Board of Education in the city. I am a proud outcome of the city of Hartford. This city provided me opportunity to excel, to take risks, to help make a difference, and for that I am very grateful. Today I lead Hartford Public Library, the city's other public education institution, an institution of learning for all ages. We were the library that instituted the first children's library in the year 1900, after which all other children's libraries throughout the country were patterned. Our library is a place where our citizens come to learn, to explore, to discover, to dream, and to set the course for their lives. We have 829,000 visits in this small city to our library every year. 12,000 young folks participate in programming each year, many of those in our summer reading programs. And we have 10,000 youngsters who are in our summer lunch programs throughout all of our 10 locations. Since 2010, we have increased private funding by 68% and have built collaborations with institutions and agencies throughout the city, including the district. We have libraries in 3 schools, and we maintain the library catalog for the district as well.
Let's see. Could you please describe what you feel are the key reform strategies that the Board of Ed has implemented over the last 5 years, and whether you support them or see areas for change or?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I think the key in any of these initiatives of reform, and as Councilman Cota has mentioned, reform can be defined in many different ways. But I think leadership that puts a stake in the ground and says that the goal that we have is to develop better educational opportunities for our children is what really has spurred on the momentum of the Board of Ed and the district. We are a very different place than we were just 5 years ago, and everyone recognizes that. The relationship that the library has with the district has improved exponentially. I can't tell you how well it's improved under the direction of both doctors Adamowski and Kishimoto. And so I believe that the use of the schools to incorporate libraries, to allow the public library to partner with school libraries so you get the best across both is a very critical thing for us to do. I was having a discussion with someone this week about the Rawson Library, for example, and Rawson is getting the old books that are being weeded out of other schools. Something there has to change, some way to look at how we leverage a public library, which is about acquisition, collections, and so forth. If we need to get newer books to the schools, there's a way to do that. You know, it's not taking old collections and simply moving them to someplace else. So I'm very, very happy to be involved in the Hartford High experiment in particular, where we're building collections that support curriculum. We're focusing on a way to keep youngsters at the library after school to do homework. That wasn't happening before. And so I think reform has helped us all sort of learn how to work better together. And one of the reasons that I was drawn to volunteer for the board was to help push that forward even more.
Thank you. And what role do you believe the board should play in school reform in the district?
I think that two things are important. One, it's important for the board to understand what administrators are doing and get behind them. I think that's a key thing. To develop an antagonistic relationship serves no one's purpose and certainly doesn't help the children. So I think this developing of a supportive environment is key. We also need to understand the will of the public. What's the public telling us? You know, what are they saying is happening when their kids come home from school? What are they telling their parents and grandparents? What's happening? How do you get more and more and more and more of that data in? And you know, sometimes that can be mind-numbing, you know, to think about. But the key is that it's the teachers and the parents and the youngsters who really know what's happening every day in the classrooms. So I think that it's really important for us as a board to understand what people think and what they're going to contribute to the overall success. We talked a number of times about parents, and even in the library world, the involvement of parents has become critical. We're now talking about parent advisory boards for the library as well, because without that connection, and you know, as I told you my story, if it hadn't been for my parents, even though they weren't well educated, you know, insisting that my teachers were right, do your homework, you know, get these things done, I would not have been successful. So I think there's an opportunity here to make all that happen.